Coach Rhulani Mokwena joins us. He's obviously representing the away side for this fixture. We've had NB Masia come in earlier. Coach Denkley was here. Coach, maybe in the interest of time, I will just shoot straight, just your opening remarks as we head into this fixture tomorrow evening in Dobsonville.
Good afternoon. Is it afternoon? Yeah. Good afternoon, members of the media. Yeah, no, we're looking forward to it. It's an interesting team that we'll be playing against. Well coached. Dane Clade, his technical team have done a very, very good job to put the team together, and of course to reach this stage of the competition means they've got something. So we know how difficult playing NFD teams can be, and that's why we've had to work very, very hard to profile the team. Unfortunately, there's quite a lot of the players that have played in the PSL, and also we could manage to get a couple of the games and also attend one of their games last week against Tuks. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. It should be a very interesting encounter.
Thank you, Coach. Let's take questions from the floor. Just by a show of hands, we've got a roving microphone there. Do we have any questions for the coach?
Davi. Welcome back, sir. Merci beaucoup. Na fala português.
Coach, you have Coach Patela, who's been in this division for some time, and fortunately, even last season when it was the Masia's first season, he was there and had some good results against them as well. And I'm sure he's also like an asset to you during the time.
He's been giving us information. Of course, the profile of the team has changed a little bit because of the change of coach. The style of play is completely different as opposed to last season. And the story of La Masia actually is quite interesting because it takes me back all the way to a team called Strokes in the Walter Sisulu Discovery Tournament, And we used to play with Black Poison against Strokes quite a bit, and that's where the birth of La Masia came from. And so to see the club where it is today and some of the players where they are, like Caden, for an example, is a boy that played for Black Poison and now he's playing in the NFD as a left back for La Masia. So it's an interesting team with some very, very good players. I mean, Roy Keane played for Stellenbosch. He's got that experience up front. I think you know him as Aventura, but Roy Keane, Aventura, very, very good player, fast, aggressive. They've got a very good team. Manzini in the midfield, very, very good. Bachis, the number 4 in the midfield, the captain, very good player. So yeah, very interesting for us to see. Johnson reminds me actually a lot of Dane Clade. He plays exactly like Dane Clade, and very interesting. Was very interesting. I enjoyed watching them. I ended up watching 4 games when I thought I'd only watch 3, and I'll probably watch one more today because they've just loaded one more game on my laptop, so I'll watch one more today. But I enjoyed watching their friendly against Sekhukhune. I enjoyed watching their last 3 games, JDR, where they drew 0-0. It was a very interesting game, and they were a bit unfortunate. Even the game against Tuks, where they lost 2-1. They were quite unfortunate. They created a lot of chances. But I've enjoyed watching their team, very well coached, a lot of energy, good organizational forms. So should be a very interesting game.
Taking the next question. Okay, let's go to Dalmain first, Mazola, and then Lawrence.
Coach Domain from...
How you doing? Good, my brother.
With a match like this, Sundowns being as insatiable as you guys are, in your quest to win everything, do we then see a Sundowns team that is much changed from the one on Saturday where you feel your strongest squad, or is this an opportunity for you to give some of the French players, I don't like to refer to them as French players, but the ones who aren't playing as regularly, a chance to get a run out against a team like La Masia?
Yeah, look, we have to try to put the best team on the pitch, and we'll try to do that. There might be a couple of rotations, yes. There were a lot of rotations in the previous game too, so we will rotate and see what we can get out, because we've also got a very, very difficult program coming up next. In the next couple of weeks is going to be quite hectic just before the FIFA break. And so we've got to try to make sure that everybody is prepared and ready, and we can go into our resources from a playing personnel perspective. But yeah, let's see. We've got a couple of issues also with injuries at the moment. But and also after the Paris game, we also got a couple of concerns. You know, it was a very, very difficult game from a physical perspective. So yeah, let's see what we can put together for tomorrow.
Zola?
Coach, facing a lower league team, does it force you to sort of have a broader perspective about the league in which La Masia played in? If I can ask, what is your opinion of the league, and obviously particularly a team that you now face? Because you mentioned watching 3, maybe 4 games of the team they are facing, but also they are playing obviously against other sides in that same competition.
Yeah, well, look, I think it's always a strong league. I mean, we also what even a team like Dondol did last season, you know, in the very same competition. So you can't underestimate any of the teams, you know. Their game against Venda was interesting just before the end of the year. It was interesting, and I watched that. And the level was quite good, a very intense match, a lot of physicality, but also they hard running both sides. Their game against JDR also in Dobsonville was an interesting game to watch, and JDR are also a team that we play a lot of friendlies against and we get to see. So you know the quality that you get from there, and Taxa #1 on the log, and I got an opportunity to watch that game last week, Monday, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, at Dobsonville. So from the little that I've seen, and Davi, as he mentions, you know, even last season I was following the league because I was supporting Coach Temba a lot with regards to his matches and seeing his progress with All Stars. And he's also a great resource for me because he knows the players very well in the NFT. He's a football fundi, you know. He knows the players, he knows the names, he knows where they come from, and he knows he's got a lot of information that he's shared with me. So yeah, looking forward to it. I like the league, and it's an important league in every single country. Maybe in England you call it the championship, in the Bundesliga is League 2, you know, or Bundesliga 2, or, you know, but it is what it is. Without these type of formats, it becomes very difficult for you to be able to give opportunities to the players that need that type of level before they can progress to professional football with the PSL team. So it's good to see, and it's good to see a lot. Like I say, even a player like Caden, you know, is a boy that I saw at 16 years old, and I think now he's 21, 22. And playing in the NFT, it makes me proud because he comes from a club like Black Poison, where, you know, we've produced from that type of setup so many players that have played. Even Siabonga Zulu, who plays for La Masia, played for Black Poison, you know. So yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting team, and as I say, really I enjoyed watching their games, and I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow.
Lorenz?
Coach,
Sure, Lawrence.
you said previously that one of your biggest disadvantages is that you were never a professional footballer.
Yeah,
And we had a legend like Dane Clay, one of the most decorated footballers in
Top
African
footballer.
football, sit here and say that you are inspiration and a role model for young coaches like himself. So how does it feel to know that you're inspiring a new generation of coaches after what you've been through to get where you are?
yeah, it's yeah. As I say, I mean, I look at the team when I watched La Masia play. I can already see the stamp of a coach, and they do quite a lot of very good things. And whether it's Virgil Fries in goals or is Du Plessis with the left foot is the same type of schemes in the build-up. And then inverted fullbacks. Whether I can say that I enjoy being, to be honest, I don't know whether I'm worthy of that. You know, I don't think that I can, at this point in time of my career, enjoy that type of responsibility. I think I've still got so much more to learn. And I think I've got so much more to go through still in my journey, and I can only receive the words from Dane, who was also probably one of the players I used to watch and admire quite a lot with his qualities, and I can only receive that with a lot of humility and hopefully. The work that we do and the support that I get from the rest of the people who also support me and encourage me and inspire me, that can also filter down to many young coaches, and I receive it with a lot of humility and gratitude.
Thank you, Coach Karao.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon, sir.
I think mine is also a bit of an extension from what my colleague Lorenzo said. We spoke to Coach Ellen Fries. He also said, you know, he's seen your work ethic from a young age. Apparently, you guys worked together at Cosmos or Platinum Stars.
Platinums, the Silver Stars at the time, yeah.
Absolutely. So he said, you know, he's seen your trajectory, you know, up, and he's never doubted your ability as a coach. Also, just a word of thanks to him. And how does that, you know, make you feel, considering that, you know, he's an elder statesman and one of the top coaches that we have in the country?
No, for sure. I mean, Freezy has got a background of having played professional football too, and was a top football player. I didn't get to see him play, but I've been told a lot of amazing stories. Him and his brother Howard Fries. I got the privilege of working with Coach Allen at Silver Stars, where I started not really started, but probably started my professional coaching journey. And at that time I was still studying, and I had to leave varsity at the time and come to training with the first team, and go back to varsity and come to the afternoon training sessions. And Coach Ellen Fries used to pick me up from my house every single day, no fail, every morning on time, take me to training and drop me off late in the evenings every single day. I have learned so much from him. I don't even think I give him the credit that he deserves for the role he's played in my coaching career, because I learned a lot in those informal discussions on the way home or on the way to training. I got the opportunity to be his assistant coach also for the Bay Hill at under 19 in my first experience of Bay Hill before I went with the Sundowns team. And so huge plaudits to Coach Freezy, and amazing, really, honestly, amazing human being. And sometimes I sit and I laugh at some of the stories he used to share alone, you know, and people think that's normal behavior because he's crazy. But sometimes I reminisce about those times, and we went to, I remember we went to Germany, in Oberndorf, and we played an under-19 competition there. And you will not believe that the technical team was myself, was Coach Alan Fries and Coach Kevin Johnson. And we went against Barcelona, and that Barcelona side had Sergio Roberto, had some of these top young players that I've still got the team sheet actually. Some of the top, and we met Jürgen Klopp at that competition because Borussia Dortmund were there for the very first time. And yeah, we drew 0-0 with that top Barcelona side, with our Platinum Stars side. It was a great result for us. So a result we'll cherish for many, many, many years.
Thank you, Coach Kensi.
Thanks for the afternoon, Coach.
Afternoon, Kens.
During the AFCON, I had all the time in the world to go and watch the DDC team. And I wasn't as familiar with the current team as I was with the previous ones. And I picked up from watching them like a lot of stand-up performances. Malibong, Kutwano, there's a kid who got a red card against parents, Roger. Yeah. Are you tempted, Coach, to also, Nando has been also phenomenal in the DDC. Are you tempted, like in games like this, to throw in one or two of those boys? Also, looking at the periphery of Sundowns supporters, expect like big score margins. I think that 24-0 has spoiled Sundowns supporters because every time they see a team that's not a case of a team, they expect to get a big scoreline in games like these. Is that something that you're thinking about?
The scoreline?
No, in terms of playing the DDC boys. In terms of playing throwing in the DDC boys.
Yeah. If the kids are ready, we will play them for sure. Every game gives its own opportunities for certain targets and objectives, and we have those. And of course, they feature predominantly in our friendlies. They feature a lot in our training sessions. We are also in constant communication with Coach Temba, so he works as one of the technical team members in the first team. Every morning he's part of it, and that was my road also. You know, I remember when I was coaching the under-19s at Silver Stars, I used to be an assistant to Coach Steve Kompela in the first team, and in the afternoons I would go to the youth, you know. So he's following a similar type of pathway, and he helps a lot with regards to being able. You've seen we've thrown a player like Gabi. We threw him in the Carling Black Label when we had a few problems up front, and we've got a few of those. And like you say, Kutwano, there's a boy Masia that played a few of our friendlies, left centre back. Kutwano has been good for our DDC team. Mali's got incredible potential. So I'm just piggybanking on some of the players you've mentioned. But yeah, it's an opportunity, of course, but only if the platform is right, you know, and not to just throw them into the deep end and expect them to carry Mamelodi Sundowns is very, very difficult. It's even some seasoned professional players struggle with that responsibility, and so you've got to be patient for these type of situations. And when the time is right, for sure, you'll see a lot more. It's our responsibility. We've done it with Mabena last season a lot, and Tando, Sia. So yeah, when the time is right, for sure, we'll do that. The scoreline, I've got no comment on.
No, that was just an example to say.
Yeah, I don't think that's. Yeah, no.
Okay, Mark.
How are you, Mark? Good, Mr. Stradum.
I asked a similar question of Gavin, but for you it's a bit different. We had a round table with the Mokwena coach on Friday.
Yeah.
With the journalists, and he's saying again he wants to meet PSL coaches. He also, interestingly, in that sort of was dropping something that the context was he was speaking about Kulisa Modao, and at one stage he didn't pick him. He felt he was more offensively good, but not so much defensively. And he said Rhulani's done a good job because he's become such a great defender.
and that's why he started picking him, whether we agree or not. And just sort of alluding to the fact that Sundowns is an environment for the cream of South Africa's talent to flourish and to develop, and he was giving credit to that. I know there were some strange statements that the coach made at one stage that came via the Belgian press before AFCON, but given Sundowns have played such a role in taking South African football forward, and now Bafana reciprocating with so many of your players with a bronze medal and lifting South African football a bit more. And I know there's been a little bit of I don't know if Cold War is the right, but between Sundowns and Bafana for some reason since Bruce has been there. I don't know what the latest, Gavin said he actually did have a meeting with him ahead of AFCON. I don't know what the latest status is. And would you be open to sort of burying the hatchet and now moving forward, given he's giving you credit as well for the job you're doing? And it seems important there's that synergy between the top club in the country and the Bafana coach. It seems necessary. Thanks.
Yeah, I think my biggest problem is that I don't discuss quite a lot of these things that are said by my colleagues in the media. I don't go and have engagements with the media about them. You are all familiar with some of the things that my colleague at TS Galaxy said, and I picked up the phone and I called him direct, and I raised my displeasure. There were things said by Hugo Broos, and I picked up the phone and I called him direct, and I raised my displeasure. What was said in those conversations is not for the public. If they feel that they've got to disclose that, it's what they feel like. I'm not that type of person, and I will not be dragged into those type of situations. I respect my family, and I was raised in a certain way. So when I sit in a public platform and I speak to the media, I must also understand that I don't just represent myself. I represent my family and the upbringing and the education that they gave me. And I also represent the football club, and it's a club that has high moral standards. And so it's important that when you have that respect, not just for yourself, but for the people who raised you and for the people who look after you, and that you have the privilege to serve, then you've got to behave in a certain manner. And I don't want to go into that space. And in fact, I'm one person that was taught to forgive even the wrongs that are never apologized for. And I'm that type of person. I move on very, very quickly, but I address issues straight. I don't go to the media. I don't go and create a mudsling. I pick up the phone and I address those things. And unfortunately, Coach Hugo Broos did apologize and explained what had happened. But for me, after that conversation we had on the phone before AFCON, for me it was done.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna, if we have time, I'll come back to you, Mark. This is a Nedbank Cup press conference after all. I saw a hand here, Kamu.
Afternoon, Coach.
How are you, Kamu?
Good evening, Coach.
Good, thank you.
Coach, you always pride yourself about the kind of football that Mamelodi Sundowns is playing, as well as the players, and also what you have achieved in the mandate. Now, fine, you are not happy about how you played and everything like that, but I just want to find out now, what do you then do and say to the players in making sure that you improve what you displayed on Saturday, making sure that you have a great showing in tomorrow's game against Masia.
What do I say to the players? I say the truth. I tell them the truth. I always try to tell them the truth. If I can't tell them the truth and I feel it's too strong, then I keep quiet, because I try not to lie, and that's very important. So it's either the truth or I keep quiet, and they know that sometimes my silence actually speaks a little bit louder than the words. we've done a debrief. I've spoken to them. They know exactly where we are and how the level is. They know the reaction. They know the responsibility and also because there were so many things that were factors into that performance, you know. So it becomes very difficult to only put it to the players, you know, because as I said, even in the media, I said I've got to look at myself also, you know, and that's where I always start. I start with myself, and as the coach, the responsibility of not just the results but the performance lies on me, the coach, you know. So I think the players know my feelings, and now we move on. We have to prepare for a very, very important game against a very good team.